We are live.
Like,
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on CU Cricket on a very special episode celebrating a true great of the game, uh, Ravichandran Ashwin. A career that could easily be made into a biopic, and nobody is walking out of the theaters until the lights are off. Such an interesting character, a true enigma of the game. You could talk about his skill, you could talk about his showmanship, his tactical acumen, and whatever endorsement you throw in his way, nothing would sound like an exaggeration when it comes to this man. Let's start off the retirement itself. Totally caught us off guard, very much like Pat Cummins' delivery to Virat Kohli on the fourth stump line. Nobody saw this coming, although I guess a lot of people do see the other one coming these days.
yeah.
Um, le- Varun, I want to start off with you because Chennai boy, very likely you grew up hearing about Ashwin much sooner than a lot of us did.
Indeed,
Quick
indeed.
thoughts on the retirement.
It was a shocker, to be honest. I didn't see that coming at all. And once I saw Ashwin announce his retirement, I thought it was almost a prank that he pulled off. But unfortunately, it's just hard to realize that going into the Boxing Day test, Ashwin would not be there, at least in the squad. Even if he's not in the playing 11, he'd not be in the squad. And he's somebody who's won the previous Border Gavaskar trophy for us. He demonstrated a lot of courage, grit on the field and off the field. He's been a prime spinner for India, and it's just tough to see a playing 11 that does not have Ashwin in the mix. So it's really, really hard for me. It's not sunk in yet. His records actually speak for himself, and he's one of the most prolific all-rounders, if I may call. He's one of the most prolific all-rounders that we've had, or India has produced, and Tamil Nadu has produced, Chennai has produced. So I'm I'm really sad that he's not going to be in the playing 11 or in the mix.
Yeah, I feel that too at times. And, yes, it's a shock, but I feel that it probably has been in the making for a while. Maybe the last 2 or 3 overseas tours, maybe the home defeat, which was a humiliation, and which marked the end of an era, which was a domination, and which was actually, predominantly due to Ashwin and Jadeja, who played together for most of those home victories, right? So maybe all of this put together with the next home summer, sorry, not the summer, but the next home series being some, I think, 12 months or close to that away.
Yeah.
A lot of that also could have played in his mind while he decided that. And like most of the other critics, when I say critics, analysts, and YouTubers and others who are reviewing cricket in general, called out, I think it's also a lot of humiliation in his father's words, because I feel like probably a little hard done by, given his stature as a cricketer, not just as an off spinner. He was not just another off spinner that India had. I mean, people can always argue whether he was better than Harbhajan Singh or Anil Kumble, or on par with Nathan Lyon, or better than Nathan Lyon, whatever it is, contemporaries. It's not just as an off spinner, but also as a cricketer, as a thinker of the game, and how he innovated in comparison to others who were before him, and also his contemporaries. I think master innovator. He bowls very differently in Test cricket as compared to one dayers. As compared, he's an all format spinner,
He
right?
has a different action. He
Exactly.
reinvented his own action series after series. I could probably start with his debut series. He had a very weird action, and going into the retirement, he had a very simple action that just came up, ran, just the ball had a great flight. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
only age also caught up. He's also about 36 or 37 to defend, R Ashwin's retirement and move away from the controversies that are actually around. He's been a good representative of the game itself. He's been a true gentleman. So I don't really
Oh,
think
absolutely. Yeah.
he is. He can be compared to any sort of conspiracies going on. If there
Yeah,
was something,
I mean, he speaks his heart. It's not just he has,
Right.
cards
Uh,
close to his chest. Yeah.
so let's hear it from the biggest Ashwin fan on the stream, and perhaps the biggest I've met, if any. Um, Give us one or two Kuti stories from your
So
your
I
word
will
vantage point.
I'll talk about his retirement very briefly. So it, and this connects with something I read in the book, which is called "I Have the Streets," which is his biography, where he primarily talks about his childhood, growing up in Chennai as a street cricketer, and then progressing to under 17 cricket to playing for Tamil Nadu. It hardly has any of his uh, days of dominance with the Indian cricket team. Maybe there's a part two, and it's written with the best cricket writer, at least in India, and I believe in the world, Sid Monga. So kudos to him for choosing Sid Monga. Uh, and yeah, so if you read his book, you'll understand how obsessed this man is with the game of cricket. He's obsessed, and I don't use that word loosely. During a hot afternoons in Chennai, where it was impossible to play cricket outside, or if Ashwin was probably injured, he used to turn his home into what quote unquote a field of his dreams. I'm quoting from the book. I just stand out there in the courtyard, imagine myself playing an entire test match. I get padded up, wear the team color, blue when India, yellow when Australia's batting, entire handkerchief around my head because I don't have access to helmets. I imagine the entire field set. I imagine the ball running in, and I play the shot, and I provide commentary too. These matches are purely imaginary, but some are improvisations on real games. If Sachin has been getting out to short ball from Glenn McGrath in my matches, I set the field trap for the short ball and then make Sachin cut it up over the point fielder. I make the commentator say that with amazement. What a guy! Who does that? That's ridiculous. Some would call it schizophrenic, but I call it obsession.
No, I
Wow,
think
that's a
great,
beautiful.
great anecdote, Archit. Thanks for sharing that. In fact, I used to do that as a child.
I used to do that exactly. That's what I was gonna say as well. But
The
good to
only
know.
difference-
Look at us! Look at us! Both of
except we
you.
didn't turn into Ashwin's or team wants ourselves, but
That's where you're
Yeah,
wrong.
but-
All of us are cricket YouTubers. All five of us. So that's what we have in common with Ashwin.
Yeah, he's
And
the
yeah,
best YouTuber cricketer of us.
he
Indeed.
he sorry to get political a bit, but a lot of politicians and even a lot of tech CEOs like Elon Musk, they talk about controlling the narrative and not and like removing media between them and their fans or people who want to listen to them. Ashwin did that. Ashwin started his own YouTube channel and directly spoke to his fans rather than going through cricket writers. I thought that was amazing, and I think that will be the future in cricket.
Absolutely.
At
And
least,
I
at
thought
least
that was a long-winded way to say I shouldn't have a job.
and I mean, of course, Ashwin is comfortable in many Indian languages, right? I mean, at least two or three of them. He speaks a little bit of Hindi and also English, of course. But he still has his YouTube channel in Tamil with subtitles and captions, of course. But he is trying to reach out to his core fans who are actually in the streets of Chennai and elsewhere, who will actually connect with all the terms and the local lingo that they use in Chennai or in the Tamil Nadu street cricket in general. So I think that's
He
where
knows the truth.
absolutely.
He is the truth.
I don't understand Tamil,
Really a
but
lot.
I love the fact that he started his podcast in Tamil. He could have easily farmed
Exactly.
views if he would have done it in English. He would have gotten a much wider audience, a global audience, in fact. If he would have
Exactly.
done it in English, but he didn't. He stuck to his mother tongue. And actually, that takes me to another anecdote from his book. So Ashwin was selected for an under 17 camp, and I think that was one of the first few times he had left the state of Tamil Nadu. And when he went to this camp, he was obviously very excited, but he was probably the only person who could not speak in Hindi. and he was sidelined. He was bullied. He was. I mean, for a 17-year-old going out of your home, you want to be, you want others to make you feel welcome. He didn't feel welcome. Every player from all, like every state, spoke in Hindi, and Ashwin, in fact, came back early, and he said, and he actually decided to give up on his dream of playing for India. He said, I actually just want to play for Chennai, or play in Chennai, or play for Tamil Nadu, because this is my home, and I don't want to like get bullied, or I don't want to feel uncomfortable outside Tamil Nadu. And despite that, he became what I would say India's second greatest match winner in Test cricket after Sachin. And not only that, he went out of his comfort zone and now has a Hindi YouTube channel. Imagine, imagine the trauma that he faced in his childhood, and now he overcomes that and does does cricket analysis in Hindi. That's incredible.
And for the
Yeah.
amount of knowledge that this guy possesses, the next generation of cricketers definitely want to hear from him and the experience that he kind of carries, right? So it's only right that he put in the hard work of learning a particular language that he does not know. And he's actually mentioned somewhere that he used to talk to Cheteshwar Pujara in Hindi and learn quite a bit of Hindi from him during his test tours abroad in India. So he's gone through those cycles of learning to just communicate to the younger generations. Right now, you see a lot of these Yashasvi Jaiswals, the Shubman Gills, all of them talking about R Ashwin. It's because of the fact that he's able to deliver that sort of information to them, give them his experience, his cricketing knowledge to them, for them to actually excel in their careers. And I mean, it's just
That's really beautiful, right? Imagine if somebody of Ashwin's intellectual stature, and he's not able to pass it on to the next generation simply because of the language barrier. That would have been a gross injustice to the next generation more than anything. And the fact that he went and fixed it because he realized he was facing that is just incredible, to say the least. All right, let's switch gears and come back to the man's cricketing career. So many moments, so many memories. So what I want to do is go around and ask, what is your one favorite Ravichandran Ashwin moment in cricket? It could be any format. It could be for CSK or
Ideally, I'd have a moment, but he made winning in India for India so boring that India did it for 10 years, and you hardly remember most of these series. Like, you guys are Australia fans, you would remember the Australia series, but for Indian fans, it just was the default that Ashwin Jadeja will take care of everything and we'll win, and that happened for 10 straight years. India, I think India lost in 2012 against Monty Panesar and Graham Swan's England.
Yes.
And after that, lost like a couple of months back against New Zealand. And between those 10-12 years, Ashwin and Jadeja, they were, I think they were the biggest match winners in world cricket.
I mean,
every
country, every hosting country has their own, fortresses. You have Baston, England. You have the Gabba for Australia. Ashwin and Jadeja made sure that the whole country was a fortress. I mean, it was frontier for most teams who are winning everywhere, but they made it different. I mean, of course, you ask someone like a Steve Waugh, who India was the final frontier when Kumble was at his peak, and Harding was actually new but extremely talented at that point in time. But these folks, Ashwin Jadeja, made sure that this is a fortress. It's not like someone has a chance here to actually even upset or have a win.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm going back a bit. We clearly established how obsessed this man is with playing cricket, not just talking about cricket. I'm guessing that fed into his retirement, because he realized that Washington Sundar would be preferred over him. Jadeja was anyway preferred over him, and I completely back that decision of preferring Jadeja over him, because Jadeja is a much superior batter in international conditions, and India need that batting at number 7. But I think due to Washi's performance against New Zealand, he was preferred, and Ashwin was told that he'd be preferred in Sydney as well. And Ashwin realized, Ashwin is also a family man, and he keeps talking about how much he wants to spend time with his family and how much he has to give up to play cricket. So I think it makes sense that he's going back home, spending time with his family. He anyway won't get to play, and also I think one thing that does play a role in his retirement is that he's coming back to Chennai in the IPL. He will have that self actualization of coming back to CSK, which is his beloved hometown, which is his beloved home team. That would, I think, that's a perfect farewell for him away from playing cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should go back to that once again. I think both Varun and I are really pumped to have him back in the CSK
I've
colors.
always rooted for R Ashwin, right? Like
Yeah.
whenever we tried really hard to pick him when he actually went and played for Delhi Capitals for a couple of years, and then during the bigger auction he went to Rajasthan Royals. I definitely rooted for Ashwin to do well because I wanted him to be in the mix. I wanted him to play more and more games, to see him, be that prime bowler. And he also demonstrated a lot of batting prowess as well with Rajasthan Royals. He even opened the innings for them last year, if I'm right. I don't really think if it was opening or one down or something like that. He came in as a pinch hitter and he smacked at least about 54 runs for Rajasthan Royals. He could actually bat also. And in test he has about 600s and about 14 odd 50s as well. So it's not that he's somebody who does not know how to bat, but he saved a lot of games for India. He saved a lot of tournaments for us. If you remember what happened back in Bangladesh, we were just struggling too hard to defend 44 or 45 against Bangladesh when Shreyas Iyer and R Ashwin were batting. They actually took the game away from Bangladesh and helped us win the series at Bangladesh. I think that's one of my favorite moments, to just go back and talk about that particular innings. He had to just stay on the ground. And even the 2019 BGT tournament where he and Hanuma Vihari was the other batsman on the other end, where they demonstrated a lot of character, a lot of grit, took blows. I very recently saw another video where he had to be literally lifted off his bed with a towel and gave painkillers, put into the shower, had to come out and bat for the whole day to save a test match for India. He's a warrior, at least according to me. So I have all my favorite moments listed out. I probably want the others to talk about their favorite moments right
Ask
now.
him to walk in the Chennai heat at 40 degrees Celsius, and that man would ask how many miles.
He was not the fittest cricketer in the world. He looked like any random uncle. He didn't look like a cricketer. I've seen him in person. He is
that's
tall.
He realizes what he's not good at. So that made him the player that he is today.
That is true. 100%.
Yeah, imagine surviving in this era of yo-yo test and cricketing and still to be on top with such a glaring weakness. That further highlights how much of a smart cricketer that he was. I'm gonna go for
the meme world actually calls him Isrovin, which is it's a beautiful name for him. Ravichandran Isrovin, like ISRO.
Oh,
ISRO.
okay.
Indian Space Research Organizations, ISRO.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of them actually, say that about Ashwin, that he's probably a scientist of the game. But yeah, Chris, over to you. Yeah.
Yes, I have a picture that I want to share for my favorite Ravichandran Ashwin moment. This, for me, exemplifies that man's career in a single frame. It's not something that we don't know or anything, but I just found this. I love this picture as well.
Amazing. What a moment.
Yeah.
Who would have done that?
What a moment.
Imagine if he'd not done that, then, Virat Kohli would have been hurt even more than him, because Virat's innings was hailed as the best T20 innings of all time.
Yeah, it's amazing how we would be going back to the same match or the same last few overs for two greats of the game if we want to talk about their finest moment in their careers. Yeah.
Chris, you won't believe it. It was probably the exact moment that I had in mind to share. And
that's the Aussie telepathy, Gandalf.
Yeah. Absolutely, because I think Archit and Varun mentioned, of course, there are a lot of moments that are celebrated across, and there are a lot of video clips of many victories. And as fans, we don't even remember what that big moment was in his career, especially because of the dominance that has been for like 12 years at home. A lot of victories, a lot of 5-wicket hauls, a lot of 10-wicket hauls in a Test match, and things like that. But this moment stood out for me because that was probably the street cricketer in Ashwin. And we do this in street cricket all the time. If you recall from childhood, the moment the ball pitches straight and it has a trajectory of moving towards the leg side, you just move slightly towards the off to let it
And
go.
knowing Ashwin and his love for Tamil cinema, it's so poetic that he used a playbook out of one of the most popular Tamil movies and one that was dedicated to cricket. That's Chennai 28. There is an exact scene like this where the the darling team ends up winning a tournament because of this gully cricket technique, and Ashwin actually paying tribute to Chennai 28. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's why that moment is probably special. I of course appreciate all the other parts that he has actually played in India's victory. Even the one that where he actually drew the test, batting it out. If I'm not wrong, he started his career opening the batting, right? And
Yeah.
almost had a reverse trajectory like that of Steve Smith. Steve Smith moved from a bowler to one of the best batters in the era. Ashwin started his career as a batter and then one of the best spinners, across all eras. So, yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of Ashwin's batting, so we talk a lot about in India, talk a lot about how Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma should go back to domestic cricket, should play for their states because they're out of touch with Test cricket. Ashwin actually went and played not just for his state, he went and played for Dindugal Dragons in the TNPL. Not only, and that's not even a state team, that's a local team. And not only did he played as a batter in the last version. He won it with the bat for Dindigal Dragons. He was the man of the match in the final. He scored a 50. I mean, that's who does that at like 37, 38 when you're. By the way, when he did this, he was the world number one test bowler, and he was the world number one test bowler till 80 days back. So it's not
Yeah.
like Ashwin was on
Nah,
his
that's just
downfall
pure-
and he retired. Yeah.
Pure
He
love
was
for the
still-
game.
Yeah, he was still the number 5 ranked test bowler in the world when he retired.
Yeah,
He didn't
pure
have
love
to
for the game. I mean, it's like almost Virat Kohli going and playing, for let's say a fictional Varanasi Warriors or something like that. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, that shows that he's ready to connect with a cricketer at whatever level and pass on that knowledge and also enjoy the game, enjoy playing it. I mean, it doesn't matter which level, what quality. If you're rubbing shoulders with the best, either you will become the best, or if you're rubbing shoulders when you're the best, you will make them better, whoever you are doing that with. So
Absolutely. And
India
Uh,
actually, I have an Australia moment to share. I think India got Ashwin in the World Cup last year, the World Cup that Australia won, 2023 ODI World Cup, just to play against Australia in that one game, in the first game that India played. I think Ashwin had figures of 34 runs in 10 overs, 1 wicket. He took the wicket of Cameron Green. They didn't play him again ever in the World Cup. I mean, maybe if he would have played in the final, which didn't make sense considering India's team was pretty sorted, maybe the result would have been different. But Indian fans can only dream.
Yes.
so,
is it
did you folks
Chris,
notice a
before you jump in, just
Go
one
on, Dolphy.
question
Yeah.
to Arshit. Does it bother you that his last wicket was a non-wicket of that of
Yeah.
Mitch Marsh just walking
Nah,
it out?
It doesn't bother me. I mean, yeah, he's had a million wickets. He's had Marsh million times. He's had Smith million times.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it
bother me.
reminds me of Rahul Dravid playing that ball for Rajasthan Royals. Career full of grace and elegance. This is how it ends. But then again, this
I remember Dravid's last moment as him smashing Samit Patel for 6 in a T20 match. I think the only T20 match he played
That was in
ever.
Prince.
T20I match, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
that was-
Samit Patel? I think it was Samit Patel.
Yeah, it
He
was
was
center
Simon
back.
Patel, correct? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He flicked him for a 6.
Yeah.
Right. So I just wanted to point out how we spent 25 minutes talking about a true legend of the game, and we didn't have to bring in any numbers. We didn't talk about his, I guess, 537 test wickets or his 2.8 economy rate, test batting
600.
average of 25, of course, that as well. And that shows the cultural influence Ashwin has had on our game, where it's gonna go a long way than sheer numbers in some record books.
That's true. He's been
Yeah,
a true hero in a lot of sense. He's maybe, if I were to compare his contemporaries, he's the Virat Kohli of bowling, maybe, or the R Ashwin of bowling for India. Like
no,
what
I would
Virat
actually call him the Steve Smith of bowling than Virat Kohli. This
I
man's,
agree. Yeah.
yeah,
Being Australian
That would
he's
fans,
be
a
I was
fair.
also thinking of that. Like, no one ever
Yeah.
has actually innovated this fast across matches or across the whole career. Yeah.
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 So Ashwin
Um,
also has I think he's number 8 in like number 7 actually in most wickets in Test cricket ever, and nobody above him has a better batting average actually, or
uh,
as many hundred. Not it's not even close. Yeah, six
mm,
hundreds.
yeah. And so, yeah, going back to the Steve Smith comparison, that's what bugs me the most as somebody from Chennai, somebody who loves the game. And we are all here because we take pride in our analysis of the game, right? Like, we are all about the rich commentary and the fact that the sport did not celebrate him enough. Like, if you look at,
Yeah.
like, I know Alfie does it all the time and we give him the stick, but look at how we celebrate Nathan Lyon, right? And he has fewer wickets than Ravi Ashwin. And here we are sharing so many stories about how much Ashwin is obsessed with the game and how he's a problem solver. But in mainstream, we nobody talks beyond Steve Smith. Like, he's the guy who, shadow bats. But just hear Archit's story about what he used to do as a child. I think it's wild that the cricketing world, and more importantly, the Indians, didn't appreciate Ashwin in his time. It's really unfortunate. Um, yes.
If I were to add a point here and probably defend Ashwin, he'd be this gentleman and then tell the world that the cricket that he knew, the opportunities that he got, gave him everything that he aspired for. So he's had the moments, he's given his heart and soul on the field, off the field as well, defending his contemporaries, winning matches for India. I think he's he's just there, man. Like if you tell me that Ashwin is under celebrated or is not celebrated, batsmen are usually celebrated more than bowlers, unfortunately. So that's how people actually like cricket, and that's how the situation is at this point in time. So we can't do much about it. That said, I
I
am
don't think
definitely
so.
looking.
I mean,
I
we
disagree. Like,
yeah,
look at
I think
Bumrah.
we celebrate Scott Boland, who played hardly 10 Test matches so far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have the
Glenn
segment
McGrath is
ready.
still celebrated. Dale Steyn is the sexiest thing that ever
Fast
existed.
bowler, but I mean, look at the names or batting that all the teams has produced right now. You celebrate an ABD Villiers, you celebrate a Virat Kohli, you celebrate a Sachin Tendulkar. All these innings stay in your head. But
Maybe
if Dale
Indian
Steyn gives
cricket fans, maybe, probably are starting to celebrate a bowler in Bumrah. But yeah,
I
Ashwin
see that.
walked so Bumrah could run, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and also Ashwin primarily focused on Test cricket, which is the least sexy
Focused,
version of
yeah,
cricket for the masses.
correct.
So that could be a reason
All
why he
right,
wants
who
to
had
do
Archit saying the word sexy twice in 30 seconds?
that.
the next time he says that, he's going to be sued by a certain airline. But anyway, let's move on. I'm talking about Indigo.
Okay, it's gonna get us sued. It's
Yeah.
fine. I'll
Oh,
get
nice.
XP
That's a
later.
good one. Yeah.
All right, so what next for Ravi Ashwin and the
I'm
CSK
looking forward.
love story?
Yes, I'm
It's
looking forward
already
Greatest,
written.
to
greatest
see
YouTuber of all time, cricket YouTuber
Yeah.
of all time. Yeah.
commentary.
He's written for
I'm
him.
looking forward to him in the commentary box. Or if I know Ashwin a little better, he would go to coach the Tamil Nadu cricket team and probably bring the Ranji Trophy back to Tamil Nadu. We've been waiting for that for 20 plus years right now. It's high time that we bring that home, bring that
Why
trophy
coach
home.
Varun? Why? I mean, he's pretty
I
good
mean,
to
yeah,
play.
he can
I
still
guess
go
so.
ahead and play the game, correct?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he has a lot of cricketing knowledge, and he's not somebody who's going to be in a way of a young player budding. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for
I
him
think
to
he should. I think he should play bat at 5 and just kill Ranji Trophy. Like it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, totally. I think that'll be my 2 cents. Yes.
Right. So Ashwin in CSK, Ashwin in YouTube. It's ironic how we are championing for somebody who's gonna come and eat us alive as a YouTuber in the next avatar, if he has already not done so.
Yeah,
But
his frequency and the amount of work he does on his YouTube page is amazing. Like he analyzed every single team's, he previewed every single IPL team's auction strategy, and then
Yes.
actually analyzed the team after the auction. It's incredible that he does that.
And I think instead of being appreciative of his involvement to that extent, I think he was recently also criticized for it while the match was, the tour in Australia is on. Like that's very unfair, I feel. But yeah, anyway.
yeah, true pioneer.
Yeah.
It's just somebody who was ahead of his time, and glad that at least in the last phase that we are appreciating the man real time and not like 200 years later, how you usually do with geniuses. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking the time and in our celebration of R Ashwin, a 64 square tactician who loved the 22 yards. We'll catch up soon in another episode of Sports Entertainment Weekly. Thank you, Ashwin, from
Thank you.
all of us.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. Yes, a big salute to you and the world of cricket and the world of knowledge that you bring to cricket. Thank you so much.
You've been a blessing, and you'll continue to be a blessing for Indian cricket. And welcome.
I love how all of us became like the 60-year-old grandparents that Ashwin meets during Diwali.